As the presidential elections pick up, the mainstream media networks are also getting a shakeup as far-right Candace Owens leaves the Daily Wire and Ronna McDaniel, former head of the Republican National Committee, switches sides and joins NBC News as a contributor. So Jeremy Boring, co-founder of the site with the right-wing commentator Ben Shapiro, who has clashed with Owens and is a strong supporter of Israel and its actions, confirmed Candace Owens' departure from the right-wing website amid tensions, saying that the Daily Wire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship. But in Candace Owens' words on her X account, she says she's finally free. Boring didn't give any details, but it's been pretty clear for a while now that ever since the Israel-Hamas conflict kicked off, Owens and the Daily Wire's editor emeritus Ben Shapiro haven't been seeing eye to eye because they really have very different views on the whole situation. Now, as for former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel, she isn't exactly getting the warmest welcome in her new network as she's clashed with NBC News host Kristen Welker during a contentious interview after she was hired by NBC to be a contributor. So Welker questions McDaniel's support for Trump as the head of the RNC during the heated interview and asked if McDaniel enabled the former president to allegedly spread election lies. So former Meet the Press host and one of America's most prominent political journalists, Chuck Todd, castigated the leadership of his own company, saying that he thinks that their bosses owe McDaniel an apology for putting her in the situation. This, he said, right before he really kind of dug into NBC's decision to hire McDaniel in the minutes-long monologue against his own bosses. The moment was definitely worth talking about. Now, before I really get into this thing, guys, all I ask is that you take 1 second, drop a quick like for the video. I totally appreciate you guys, and I want to thank you so much for sharing this video on Facebook and Twitter. It's like all of the built-up tension in the news media about covering Donald Trump and his mission to challenge the 2020 election results. He didn't win, just kind of burst out all at once. And figuring out how to deal with Trump's loyal supporters during his wild re-election campaign, that's been a whole nother level of drama for these mainstream media networks. But what can I tell you guys? Me, I'm just thankful that we have our own truth community right here on YouTube to talk about the real stuff behind these headlines. So just stay right there, guys, because this is another deep dive that you're not going to want to miss. So here's a Cliff Notes version of Candace Owens' exit from the Daily Wire. Check this out.
Friday morning, the Daily Wire CEO, Jeremy Boring, posted on X, quote, "Daily Wire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship." He did not give a reason on the circumstances that led to this shift. But earlier this week, the Anti-Defamation League highlighted the fact that white supremacist Nick Fuentes applauded Owens' rhetoric on Jews. Owens has been outspoken in her commentary about Jewish people in politics, in the media, and her support for Palestine.
Regardless, based on her latest episode posted just yesterday, the news may have come as a surprise to Owens. Take a look.
I'm not going to go away. I'm going to use my God-given voice to talk about the things that are important for me. I'm just asking to be left alone, or at least just report the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. But don't worry, because we will see you tomorrow for a brand new episode.
The controversial right-wing commentator took to her own X account, posting, quote, "The rumors are true. I'm finally free."
You heard her, guys. She's finally free. She said it. And she might be right. I mean, she doesn't exactly need the Daily Wire, not when she's pretty much got her own brand and has almost 5 million followers on X, formerly known as Twitter. I mean, if I were her, I wouldn't worry about my options post Daily Wire. You know what I mean? She's good. Nonetheless, it was a very controversial exit from the right-wing Daily Wire website for Candace Owens. So apparently she's been under fire for her supposed anti-Semitic stance. So Owens has criticized U.S. support for Israel, but also kind of mused about political Jews and a very small ring of specific people who are using the fact that they're Jewish to shield themselves from any kind of criticism. So Daily Wire founding editor-in-chief and editor emeritus Ben Shapiro called Owens' commentary as absolutely disgraceful. Owens addressed Shapiro's comments during an interview with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson that went live on X just days later, saying that she can't respond to it on a level of intellect because there's nothing that he expressed, at least in that short clip, that he fundamentally disagrees with in terms of what Owens said. Now, I kind of like what she said in this next part. She said she's not going to respond with the same ad hominem attacks and that she doesn't think it helps further the discussion. When asked if Shapiro had contacted her to apologize or even explain, Owens told Carlson no. Nothing. She hasn't heard a single word. It just was sort of something he said. Owens added that she and Shapiro have many disagreements, so she doesn't think that that's particularly something that's interesting. They disagreed on the COVID vaccine, they disagreed on Ukraine and Russia. Virtually every stance of Shapiro has been the opposite of hers on almost every issue over the last 5 years, so she doesn't think it's particularly remarkable. But she's not going around events saying harsh words about her then colleagues, so I don't know, I can tell you that much. The Anti-Defamation League, or the ADL, which campaigns against anti-Semitism, posted a report by the progressive watchdog Media Matters about remarks in which Nick Fuentes, a Holocaust denier and white supremacist, praised Owens for mounting a full-fledged war against the Jews. So Fuentes, the ADL said, is praising Candace Owens' vitriolic anti-Semitism. But according to Owens, she doesn't even know Nick Fuentes. What she does know is that everyone can see what these guys are doing to her. Their pattern is well established and the world is waking up to it. According to Owens, her crime is having stood up for herself against their network of smears. She also said that she was being attacked because she didn't believe that American taxpayers should have to pay for Israel's wars or the wars of any other country. She said that she will not change her mind. So the question is, what will they do to her next? The world is watching. What do you guys think? Needless to say, Owens promises that she cannot be silenced. This coming from an anonymous source close to Owens that said that the conservative commentator is set to speak out on the matter as she prepares to continue her work on a platform of her own. She said that Candace will be speaking soon, and that anyone who knows Candace has a voice that cannot be silenced. Owens also took to her X account to share her own website link as she confirmed the news that she had parted ways with the Daily Wire. As she said, she's finally free, and there will be so many announcements in the weeks to come. She shared her personal YouTube page where she will be bringing the show back after a brief hiatus. So are you guys subscribing to Candace Owens' new YouTube channel? You can subscribe to this one too while you're at it. Valuable insights and thought-provoking content are exactly what we strive to bring and deliver on this channel. So anyway, while you're at it, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and do all that YouTube-y stuff. We totally appreciate you here. So another mainstream media personality catching a lot of heat is former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel, who was recently hired by left-leaning news network NBC to be a contributor. A lot of Republicans are questioning McDaniel's move, saying, is anyone surprised that Ronna McDaniel is now working for NBC? She sure as hell wasn't working for the Republican Party when she was an RNC head. People say McDaniel flipped sides pretty fast, and that pretty much confirms how she was a Dem rhino all along, a Republican in name only. Well, McDaniel is definitely going through it on NBC as well. She was recently interviewed by host Kristen Welker in a very heated on-air interview about her support for Donald Trump as the head of the RNC. So Welker asked if McDaniel enabled the former president to spread election lies. Liberals, including many figures within NBC, have also lambasted the network for hiring McDaniel, calling the move appalling. McDaniel argued that there were concerns about the election in 2020 and said she had to see them through at the time, but added that Biden was fairly elected president, something that's probably not going to win her many points among Trump supporters. So Welker pressed on and asked McDaniel if she owed the people an apology, if she owed the country an apology. McDaniel said that she looked back after the elections to make sure it was done in a transparent and fair way and condemned the January 6th riot at the Capitol. Welker also pressed McDaniel to admit Biden had won the election fair and square after playing a clip of an interview from 2023 during which she said that the race was not fair. Now, after a lot of pressing, Welker got her to say that fair and square, he won, it's certified, it's done. Then she added she's going to be pushing back a little bit because she does think that it is fair to say that there were problems in 2020. And to say that does not mean that he's not the legitimate president. Well, what do you guys think? Because for some, anyone who's asked to leave the GOP, then runs to the liberal media, says all we need to know about why they were asked to leave the GOP. You know what I mean? So Ronna McDaniel may very well have secured a gig as a political contributor at one of America's top left-leaning news networks. But it looks like not everyone at the network is throwing confetti. Chuck Todd, the very well-known former face of Meet the Press and one of America's most prominent political journalists, didn't hold back when he called out the leadership of his own company, one of the nation's most powerful media conglomerates, on air. Live on air, mind you. Kicking things off with, let me deal with the elephant in the room. Todd made it very clear he thought the network's top brass should be saying sorry for the awkward position that they've put everyone in. He didn't mince words, criticizing NBC for bringing McDaniel on board, pointing out how this move pretty much left NBC journalists feeling very uneasy. Todd highlighted that their past interactions with the Republican National Committee, led by McDaniel for 6 years, have been met with gaslighting, have been met with character assassination. This drama unfolded on air right after Kristen Welker, the Meet the Press host, had a sit-down talk with McDaniel, marking her debut as a political contributor to the network. This appointment came hot on the heels of McDaniel being pushed out as the head of the Republican National Committee. The whole episode threw a spotlight on the simmering tension within media circles over covering Donald Trump's efforts to dispute the 2020 election results and how to handle Trump's loyal supporters during a volatile election cycle. McDaniel's past comments quickly resurfaced on social media, where she had accused the media of stealing our faith in the election process, referred to MSNBC reporters as primetime propagandists, and refused to clearly say that President Joe Biden won the 2020 election. So, NBC News reporters were among those calling out McDaniel's controversial media stance and her flexible approach to the truth under party pressure. The uproar reached such a fever pitch that by Saturday night, Rashida Jones, president of MSNBC, had to clarify to the staff that there were no intentions to feature McDaniel on the channel. This set the stage for Todd's forceful on-air critique, suggesting that McDaniel's interview on Meet the Press was problematic. Todd openly questioned McDaniel's integrity as a contributor, saying that he has no idea whether any answer she gave to you was because she didn't want to mess up her contract. Simone Sanders Townsend, an MSNBC host, revealed that Welker and the Meet the Press team had scheduled McDaniel's appearance before knowing she'd been hired by NBC. Once the news broke, they faced a tough decision: cancel the interview and face external criticism, or go ahead and ask the tough questions and brace for backlash from within. And well, as you heard today, they chose the latter. So there you have it, guys. The media landscape is shifting below our feet, with high-profile moves and surprising switches playing out in real time. Candace Owens embarks on a new chapter free from the constraints of the Daily Wire, promising her voice will not be silenced. Meanwhile, Ronna McDaniel steps into the spotlight at NBC amidst controversies and heated debates. The conversation around these developments is just the beginning, and we're here to deep dive into what it all means. So let's go ahead and keep the conversation going, guys. What's your take on Owens and McDaniel's next moves? How do you see these shifts affecting the broader media and the political landscape? Drop me a comment down below. Let's talk about what you guys think. And if you found value in our discussion today, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that notification bell icon so you're always in the loop on the latest developments on our analysis. Share this video with someone who would appreciate our deep dives, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.